What is going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about who I think the Philadelphia Eagles are most likely going to be playing in the 2025 NFL Kickoff Game. With the Eagles coming off their Super Bowl 59 victory over the Chiefs, they will obviously be hosting the kickoff game for the 2025 NFL season, per NFL tradition. So, I'm going to be taking a look at their home schedule for next season and ranking each opponent from the least likely to the most likely one that will be heading to Philadelphia to play the Eagles on opening night. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. The team that I think is the least likely to be heading to Philadelphia for the NFL Kickoff Game is the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, don't really need to explain this one. The Raiders are currently in rebuilding mode, coming off an abysmal 4-13 season, with holes all over their roster. Yes, they have hired Pete Carroll as their new head coach, and I guess trading for Geno Smith is something. But still, having a rebuilding Raiders team go to Philadelphia for the kickoff game just doesn't make for an appetizing matchup. The second least likely team that'll be heading to Philadelphia for the kickoff game, in my opinion, is the New York Giants. Much like the Raiders, the Giants are also in rebuilding mode, coming off a 3-14 season, so there's not a whole lot of intrigue in them going to Philadelphia for opening night as well. I only have the Giants ranked above the Raiders because 1, Giants versus Eagles is a divisional rivalry, and 2, you still have that intriguing factor of Saquon versus his old team. But still, the odds of this game being the kickoff game are really, really slim. Not much to say there. At number 6, I have the Chicago Bears. On paper, Bears versus Eagles sounds like a decent matchup for opening night, as the Bears do have a lot of talent and intrigue on their roster, with guys like Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore. The only problem? It's the fucking Bears! No matter how talented their roster is, this team still continues to be a dysfunctional mess. So, yeah, while the Bears' chances of playing on opening night are much higher than the Giants and Raiders' chances combined, at the same time, knowing how this team is, there are simply better options that the NFL can choose from. Now, the next 5 teams that we have to talk about all have decent to great chances of playing the Eagles in the kickoff game. It's just a matter of ordering them based on how likely I think their chances are. And at number 5, I have the Denver Broncos. Broncos versus Eagles would make for a decent game on opening night, as having a young, up-and-coming Denver squad led by Bo Nix and Patrick Surtain go up against the defending champs doesn't sound like a bad way to start the season. The only reason why I have it ranked at 5, though, is because I just think the other 4 games are better and or bring bigger storylines. As Broncos versus Eagles, again, while a decent game, doesn't bring a big storyline, as it isn't a rivalry or a historic matchup. At number 4, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Cowboys are coming off a pretty mid-season, and they just hired Brian Schottenheimer, of all people, to be their next head coach. But there's 2 reasons why I have Dallas ranked this high. For one, Cowboys-Eagles is a great rivalry game, no matter how good or bad Dallas it can be every year. And the second reason is because, well, it's the Cowboys. And we know how the NFL loves to glaze the Cowboys every single year. At number 3, I have the LA Rams. Rams versus Eagles is a very solid option for opening night, as not only is the game itself just good football, but it's also a rematch of their divisional round tilt from this past season. A game in which the Rams played really well and almost pulled off a comeback, narrowly falling to Philly 28-22 in the snowy weather. Safe to say, though, if they do in fact play in the kickoff game, snow will not be a factor. At number 2, I got the Detroit Lions. I know Detroit is probably most people's number 1 option for the Eagles to play on opening night, but hear me out for a bit. Yes, this is a great game. Yes, these are the 2 best teams in the NFC. And yes, we saw the Lions play against the defending champs 2 years ago in the kickoff game, where they went to Arrowhead and upset Kansas City. But considering all that, Don't you think the NFL would want to save this matchup for later in the season, like week 14 or 15, when the number 1 seed in the NFC could be on the line? It would just make sense for the NFL to do that, as I'm pretty sure Lions vs. Eagles would get a lot more hype if it were played in mid-December as opposed to opening night. So considering all that, while I do think Lions-Eagles still has high chances of being the kickoff game, I don't think it has the highest chances. Which means that the team that I think will most likely be heading to Philadelphia for the 2025 NFL Kickoff Game is the Washington Commanders. And I mean, come on, the narratives write themselves. You have the young superstar phenom in Jaden Daniels not just squaring off against the defending champs, but against the same team that ended his sensational rookie year in the NFC Championship game this past season. And although the NFL doesn't typically schedule division games on opening night, this one has to be an exception, as this is definitely going to be one of the best divisional rivalries in the NFL for the next 5 to 10 years. And before you people say that this game should be played later in the season, just like Lions vs. Eagles, solely due to the fact that it features two of the best teams in the NFC, remember, the Eagles and Commanders are divisional opponents. They play each other twice a season, so the NFL can easily have the first matchup be played in the kickoff game, and the second matchup in Washington be played later in the season. So all in all, between the Jaden Daniels storyline, this game being the rematch of the NFC Championship game, and being one of the best divisional rivalries in the NFL right now, I think the Commanders are the most likely candidate to be heading to Philadelphia for the 2025 NFL Kickoff Game. So yeah, let me know who you guys think the Eagles will play in the kickoff game next season. I'm going to be going on my BT, maybe get some sleep, I don't know. So until next time, Pensters, take care of yourselves.